Hello, my name is James Hagens, and in this video I will be discussing the initiative and referendum process in Arizona. I'm going to be explaining what initiatives and referendums are, how they're created, their similarities and differences, their disadvantages and advantages, and how they support direct democracy in Arizona. An initiative is a process that allows Arizona citizens to process a new law or propose amendment to the Arizona Constitution without having to depend entirely on the state legislature. Citizens develop an idea, collect the required number of signatures from registered voters, and if all the requirements are met, the proposal can be placed on the ballot for voters to decide. A referendum is different because it deals with a law that has already been passed by the Arizona legislature. Through the referendum process, citizens can gather signatures to place that law or part of that law before voters. And this gives voters the opportunity to approve or reject what the legislator has passed. All right, now I'm going to explain how the processes are created. For an initiative, a person or organization begins by forming or designating a political committee and filing an application for a serial number with the Arizona Secretary of State. After receiving the proper petition forms, supporters can begin gathering signatures from eligible voters. Paid and out-of-state petition circulators must also meet Arizona registration requirements. The number of signatures needed depends on what the initiative is trying to accomplish. According to Article 4 of the Arizona Constitution, an initiative proposing a state law requires signatures equal to at least 10% of qualified electors. If the initiative process an amendment to the Arizona Constitution, the requirement increases to 15%. The number of qualified electors is calculated using the number of votes cast for the governor in the previous general election. Initiative petitions must be filed with the Secretary of State at least 4 months before the election. The Secretary of State and the county recorders then review the petitions and determine whether enough valid signatures are collected. If the initiative qualifies, it is placed on a general election ballot for Arizona voters to decide. In the referendum process, follows many of the same steps. A person or organization forms a designated political committee and applies for a serial number, obtains the proper petitions, gathers signatures, and submits them for verification. However, the signatures and deadline requirements are different. A statewide referendum generally requires signatures equal to 5% of qualified electors. Referendum petitions must also be filed no later than 90 days after the legislature adjourns from the session in which the challenged law was passed. If enough valid signatures are collected, the law is placed before voters at the next general election. When comparing initiatives and referendums, there are several similarities, but both give citizens a direct role in government. Both can involve petitions, signatures, gathering, reviewing by election officials, and a statewide vote. Most importantly, both allow citizens to participate in making major decisions instead of leaving those decisions entirely to elected representatives. The main difference is what each process is trying to accomplish. An initiative starts something new. Citizens are proposing a new law or constitutional amendment. A referendum responds to something that legislature has already done. It gives citizens an opportunity to approve or reject the law that lawmakers pass. And there are advantages and disadvantages to both processes. One advantage of initiatives is that citizens can bring attention to issues that elected officials may not be addressing. If enough citizens support an idea, they may have a way to bring that issue directly to voters. Initiatives can also make government more responsive to the public. However, initiatives can have disadvantages. Gathering enough signatures can require a large amount of time, organization, and money. Complicated issues can also be difficult to explain in a short ballot description, and voters may have to make decisions about subjects that normally require a lot of research. Referendums also have advantages. They provide another level of accountability for elected officials. If citizens strongly disagree with legislation, they do not necessarily have to wait until the next election to express their opinion about the lawmaker who passed it. Instead, they can challenge the law itself and allow the public to vote on it. A disadvantage is that a referendum process can delay laws that may be needed, and organized groups with enough money and resources may have an advantage when trying to collect thousands of signatures. Referendums can be also turn complicated political policy questions into a simple yes or no choice. Initiatives and referendums are important because they represent the idea of direct democracy. Article 4 of the Arizona Constitution says that enough legislative authority belongs to legislature. The people reserve the power to propose laws and constitutional amendments and to approve or reject laws at the polls. This means Arizona uses representative democracy, but the people also keep certain legislative powers for themselves. To me, that is what makes initiatives and referendums important. Citizens elect representatives to make decisions, but Arizona's Constitution provides ways for citizens to become directly involved when they want to propose change or challenge a decision made by lawmakers. In conclusion, initiatives allow Arizona voters to propose laws and constitutional amendments, while referendums allow voters to approve or reject legislation that has already passed. Although both processes have advantages and disadvantages, they both provide Arizona citizens with a powerful voice in state government. And together, they demonstrate how direct democracy is built into Arizona constitutional system. Thank you for listening.